So do you want to know how to make the best storm build you possibly can in Anthem? Do you want to know what your teammates should be taking with them when coming into that boss fight? Do you want to know how to be the best spell slinger you have ever seen? Stick around and you'll find out. So hi there guys, it's ConnorPlays here, just coming at you with a brand new video today. Now today's video is going to be an Anthem, and it's going to be a different style of video to what I normally do. I'm going to put my commentary on the back of some gameplay, so the gameplay has no sound, but I'll put in some backing music and stuff, and you know, it'll all be sweet here for the tips anyway, not the actual gameplay, but enjoy the gameplay nonetheless. So today we're going to be going through 5 different tips on how to be the best storm javelin that you can be. Now all of these tips apply to all the different classes, but I'm going to make them specific to the storm javelin, and you'll see what I mean by that later on in the video. So just to preface this video, if you don't know what Anthem is, it's a new game by EA and BioWare. It's a new RPG game, it's quite sick, it looks like Destiny, it kind of plays a bit like Destiny as well, it's kind of set up the same. But that being said, it's been the open demo this weekend, it was the closed demo last weekend. Go ahead and pre-order that if you do like the look of it. It's absolutely sick, it's kind of like Destiny but with mechs and you can fly around, and yeah, the gameplay is just a bit insane, the graphics is absolutely so sick. But that being said anyway, let's jump into the first of the tips. So the first tip or thing to consider is actually what role are you playing within your team. Now obviously this video is specific to the Storm Javelin because that's the one I've been playing throughout the whole, process of this demo. But that being said, this tip applies to every single role. It applies to the Colossus, the Interceptor, the Ranger and the Storm as well. But today we're just going to go for the Storm. I will go through them all briefly anyway. So basically the way it works is your Colossus is your tank, your Interceptor is kind of like your DPS slash jungle type character, I want to say, if you know anything about jungle characters in League of Legends stuff anyway. But yeah, they're kind of like that. And then the Storm is your absolute DPS, they're the ones that you need to get that high damage output going. And then your Ranger is just kind of a bit of everything they can do. They can tank a little bit more than a Storm can or Interceptor can. They can, attack in close range better than a Storm can, and they can attack from distance better than, say, an Interceptor could. So I hope that made sense anyway. So the way it works is when you have all 4 different classes in one team, your Colossus is your tank, they hold up the big opponents, so you can take out the littler ones and then finally all gank the big one. So basically your Colossus just takes all the damage, tries to get a little bit of damage on the bigger opponents, or just takes out anyone he prefers. Your Interceptor is next. They're the ones who I like to think would take out the smaller opponents, them the little ones that shoot you with the little machine guns and stuff, not the ones that are going to deal insane damage, but your Interceptor can go around and take them out quickly, rather than, it being a slow process by trying to kill them with, say, a Colossus or something along them lines, because they can move a lot quicker and they've got good melee damage as well. And next, which is the purpose of this video, is actually going to be the Storm. Now the purpose of the Storm is to deal high damage from range. They are here to take out that Titan, they are here to take out that absolute boss character that you can see. They are there to take out that absolute boss character that is on that field, and you're like, how the hell am I going to deal enough damage to take him out? Well, that's where the Storm comes in, because they have absolutely insane damage output. They're absolutely sick, but the one thing that they do quite lack in is being able to get up close, because when you are up close you're quite vulnerable. Your spells, you kind of need to be at range to be able to see where you're placing them, and just things like that. They're just not very good within melee distance, but they are very good at range, so you want them to deal high damage to that boss character. And then finally you have your Ranger, which I said before, they can kind of do a bit of everything. So yeah, that being said, they are the roles within Anthem. I'd like to say the Storm is to just deal absolutely insane damage to the boss character, just damage that no other class can rival. These next 3 tips kind of vary depending on whether you're solo or in a team, and I will kind of try and go over them all. I don't really know whether I will. But that being said, the next tip is your weapons. Now your weapons in Anthem are very varied. There's shotguns, there's machine pistols, there's normal pistols, there's assault rifles with different rates of fires, with different damage, there's different sniper rifles with explosive rounds, non-explosive rounds. There's even grenade launchers. There's just a lot of weapons in that game. And although any javelin can use any type of weapon, bar a few restrictions obviously, I'd like to think that certain weapons fit better to certain javelins. So for example, a Colossus who's meant to be tanking should never really be using a sniper rifle, although they could, but they probably shouldn't really, realistically, because that'd be absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, going back to the Storm, the weapons I think they should be using is definitely a sniper rifle, without a shadow of a doubt. You can use a normal sniper rifle if you want. I personally prefer the one with the explosive round just because the damage output on that is ridiculous. As long as you can keep picking up some ammo packs along the way, it's insane the damage that you can deal with that, and especially because you're going after that big boss, you want that big damage output. Whereas, you know, a normal sniper rifle look good at picking off them little opponents, but you know, that explosive one is just insane against boss characters. So when it comes to the secondary weapon on a Storm Javelin, I like to think you should only use two, and that's either an assault rifle or a single shot pistol. They seem like the best, you know, sort of weapons that are suitable for that sort of range which you want to be at when you are playing a Storm Javelin, because you want to kind of be far away, so you don't want to, you know, pick a submachine gun where you're not going to be able to get the damage in because you're not going to get that close to the enemies. So yeah, either an assault rifle or a single shot pistol. Now I veer on the side of the single shot pistol just because it's more accurate, because I don't want to be going to pick up ammo packs every 2 minutes, because you know, you don't really want to be getting that close when you're a Storm Javelin, let's be honest. So that is my loadout. As you can see on screen now, it's the sniper rifle with explosive ammo, and it's the pistol with single shot that does absolutely insane damage. It seems like the best loadout for being at that distance, and you know, it's just sick. You have damage output's high, it's good for that range, you don't waste too much ammo, so you don't really have to go and collect any ammo packs. It's just insane. That weapon setup should be pretty much standard for most Storm Javelins, in my opinion. So that's it for weapons anyway. Let's move on to your abilities, which happen to be spells, just because you're playing a Storm Javelin, obviously. So the spells that I like to use vary quite a lot depending on what situation I'm going into. But that being said, I always have one that can deal damage to area of effect, so I can take out some of the smaller opponents if I really have to. Now, the Interceptor should be doing that, but, you know, sometimes you just have to switch up a bit and do things you're not really meant to do. So that's why I like to have that area of effect spell, just to keep it for them squishy targets. I can take about 5 of them out in one shot. The other spell I actually like to use is a single shot, high damage, just, you know, pepper them at the boss kind of spell. Now, I don't really mind the recharge rate on this, because between them recharging, you can fire them with them explosive rounds, whatever it may be. And I have messed about with a few of the smaller attacks that inflict more elemental effects. Like, I messed around with, I think it's frozen shards or frost shards, or I don't know, something along them lines anyway, and you basically just fire loads of ice bolts at people, and then they freeze up and they go a bit slower and they get a bit of a status effect. Now, kind of see the use of that, but it doesn't deal enough damage for a Storm Javelin, in my opinion anyway. If you were solo, it'd probably be a bit more useful, but as a team, I'd say pick one that does high damage but is area of effect to take out some squishy targets, and then pick another which is a single shot, you know, you're just going to fire them at the boss all day kind of spells. And that's it for magic. Now next we have our components, and you actually have one component which is a shield like component, which, you know, that's just, I kind of don't really use them very much. I probably should use them a bit more than I like to think. Personally, I'd go with the one that blocks projectiles, just purely because you're quite far away, so you're not really going to get in melee distance, or you're not really going to want to buff to your defenses. You literally just want to block projectiles coming at you from range. And then next, you actually have the other component which affects, you know, your suit as such. It either gives you extra defense, or it gives you extra shield, or it gives you a buff to, I don't know, assault rifle ammo, or anything like that. There's a varied number of different components that you can actually choose. So the one that I like to go for on a Storm Javelin is the one that lets you reduce the heat buildup on your little jets or thrusters or whatever you want to call them. The ones that can make you fly for longer is what I'm trying to say. Because basically, as a Storm character, you want to be far away, you want to be high up in the sky, you want to be firing, you know, them spells, and, you know, firing your sniper for as much as possible. So you want to just be standing there floating, being able to move quite freely, and also be able to get out the way a lot. If, you know, the battle comes towards you, you want to be able to fly away, get a good vantage point, and then get the high ground and throw them spells down the floor. So that's why I go for them, just to reduce the build up of that heat restriction, or debilitation, should I say. So that's it for number 4 and the components. So number 5 and the next tip or thing you should consider would actually be the purpose of this build, or, you know, whether you're in a team or a solo, because, you know, if you want to go and do a dungeon raid with a full team, you're going to want the ideal setup for doing that and for taking out them bosses. But if you're just going on free play and you want to just roam around the map on your own, it's obviously going to be a completely different type of build. Well, maybe not completely different, but you know, some aspects are going to change, so that's something to consider as well. So for example, if you're going into a dungeon, you're going to want a high damage output, you're going to just want to be able to throw damage at that boss all day long. You know you're going to have a full team there, you know you're going to have that Colossus to tank, you know you're going to have that Interceptor to take out them squishy targets. You're just going to have a good team setup, so your role needs to be pretty linear in a sense of you're just going for that boss, you're just there for high damage. But on the flip side of that, you might also encounter an event that wants you to stay on the ground, and if you know it's going to be one of them, you have to stay in this area of effect, you have to stay on the ground, you have to build a signal for quite a while. Now I encountered one of them in this gameplay that you're seeing now. Whether I remember to put it in or not, or whether it falls into this video, I don't know, it might be on screen now, I'm not too sure. But that being said anyway, I had to stay on the ground and I just did not have the build to be staying on the ground and engaging in close quarters. I was set up for hovering in the back and firing some spells down, but it just didn't happen like that, and it went difficult. I managed to do it quite easily, but it made it a lot more strenuous to try and get out of them situations and stuff, whereas if I had some better skills and better weapons for that situation, I would have been much more equipped for that, you know, situation, I suppose. So if you are going into a situation like that where you know you're going to be forced into a close quarters environment, you might want some smaller spells, like you might want them frost shards that I was on about earlier, because you can fire them quite quickly and they recharge quite quickly, whereas you don't want a spell that hits for a lot of damage for a single target that takes ages to recharge, because you know, you're going to have too many enemies coming at you to be able to cope with that recharge and stuff like that. But that being said anyway, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you learned something, or at least took something on board that made you think differently about the way you might play a storm build. If you did go on to enjoy, please smash that like button down below. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more Anthem content. It's absolutely a sick game. I'm going to definitely be doing more videos on this coming soon. Thanks for watching anyway, goodbye.